2023年9月18日、東京都港区赤坂のカナダ大使館で、公開講演会、カナダ北西海岸先住民アートの世界、新たな挑戦が開催されました。主催、在日カナダ大使館。共催、国立民族学博物館。協力、カナダ観光局。講演会では、国立民族学博物館の岸上伸啓教授による解説に続き、5人の先住民アーティストが北西海岸先住民アートについて講演しました。この動画では、ハイダグワイ博物館館長のニカ・コリソンさんによる講演、ハイダグワイ博物館と先住民アートをお伝えします。
Nika Collison and Nika. Jiskan, Tao, Yuan, and Nika Collison are my names. Sa Finland di Skangukaga, Asing Gipquest di Gipka. I work at the Haida Gwaii Museum, as does my daughter. I'm here to speak to you today about the relationship between indigenous art, culture, and tourism on Haida Gwaii, which we prefer to call visitation. I actually don't know what you're supposed to. Yes, okay. Haida Gwaii is an archipelago located off the northwest coast of Canada. It has always been home to our people. In later years, our territory grew to include southeast Alaska. Like so many others, we have endured genocide and colonization, as Nobu-san mentioned in his presentation. In the Haida case, we went from tens of thousands of people to less than 600 on Haida Gwaii by 1915. Today we are healing from the effects of this recent history and seeking pathways to reconciliation. Haidas now number at about 5,000, with about 2,000 of us living on Haida Gwaii. The total population of our island is about 4,500 people spread across several communities. The main Haida communities are Gildat, or Skidegit, and Tlugay, or Old Malset. The Haida have always held rights entitled to Haida Gwaii, but Canada disagreed for a long time. Steps toward reconciliation have progressed slowly, but major milestones have also been realized, including that this year, Canada recognized the Haida as a sovereign nation and government. There is still much to be worked out between our two nations, but in working as equals, I know we will move down the road of reconciliation and forge a pathway to coexistence. From the late 1700s to the early 1800s, Europeans traded for our sea otter furs, food, art, and other cultural treasures. As the fur trade waned, Haida artists began carving small sculptures in argillite, wood, and other materials specifically to sell to Europeans. Often referred to as the first tourist trade on the northwest coast, this new art market endured through the ages. Artists of today continue to create for both culture and the global market. Over time, the greater world has come to understand our historic art and art of today are not anthropological specimens nor tourist art, but one of the great arts of the world, inextricably linked to our culture. As a modern tourist destination, interest in Haida Gwaii picked up when we began to revitalize our language, art, and culture and protect our land and sovereignty, which was made possible later when some of the regimes were lifted. Tourism can be an important economic driver, but it can also infringe on environmental and social health. So in 1981, we formed the Haida Gwaii Watchman Program, where Haidas are employed to live in and look after some ancestral villages in southern Haida Gwaii, monitoring visitors to the sites. Watchmen are not required to tour the visitors, but Haidas love to host and usually do spend time showing people around. The program is highly successful, with visitors often saying their favorite part of their trip was spending time with the Watchmen. The program has inspired other Indigenous guardian programs across Canada. In the 1980s, the Haida took a stand against unsustainable logging, first designating Degoose in the northwestern Haida Gwaii as a protected area. In the south end, protecting a small island named Gwaii met resistance from the Canadian government and industry. Our people declared the southern region a Haida heritage site and blockaded logging for several months, leading to 72 arrests, including elders. The movement gained global attention and the region was eventually protected. Known as Guayhanas, the area is now co-managed by the Haida Nation and Canada. Guayhanas, which can only be reached by boat or plane, has become a popular destination, as has the rest of Haida Gwaii. I should mention too that today over 50% of Haida Gwaii is protected from industrial activity. Now we're heading north to Kayonagai, Sea Lion Town, just down the road from Skidegate. The site is home to South Mindanao, the Haida Gwaii Museum, which opened in 1976 to help preserve and perpetuate Haida language, art, and culture, including repatriating Haida heritage and commissioning new works. Thousands of Haida belongings left our home during the height of colonization, some through legitimate transaction, but most were stolen or given or sold under duress. We have been building relationships with colonial museums since the early 1900s and have been repatriating since the 1970s. As well, hundreds of our ancestors were taken from their graves. The Haida Repatriation Committee, our museum and Greater Haida Nation, have spent over 30 years bringing home our ancestors' remains, reconciling and making some new good friends along the way. In 2007, our museum tripled in size with the creation of the Haida Heritage Center. Owned by the Skidegate Band Council, the center houses several cultural and educational spaces. The center took many years to create, and it's, as you can see, it looks like many longhouses. It is reminiscent of an ancient Haida village. Amongst it all is a grave house holding ancestral remains unearthed during the center's construction. Every experience, exhibit, text, object, and image were developed with our community. We have both permanent and temporary exhibition galleries and a gift shop carrying Haida art, books, jewelry, clothing, and more, including Totem House design products, which the company is owned by Haida artist and businesswoman Kalgajat Erin Brillen and her artist husband, Andy Everson. All of it is very popular, not only with our own people, but with people from around the world, and it helps support both artists and the museum. The Haida Gwaii Museum and Heritage Center are not just institutions. Rather, they are part of the institution that makes up today's Haida culture, providing space, support, and opportunity for artistic and cultural expression, language revitalization, research, education, ceremonies, including Erin and Andy's traditional wedding last year, celebrations, capacity building, and of course, hosting visitors. We are simply part of and contribute to a Haida way of life. Modern visitation has grown exponentially over the past 30 years. We need to build up our tourism infrastructure, but we must be careful in how we do this because respectfully, we do not want to wind up like Hawaii, which is overrun with tourists and foreign interests. Haidas love hosting, but we don't create art and culture based on what the outside world wants. We do this work to strengthen ourselves, and then we share our ways with visitors who truly enjoy an authentic experience. The number of artists and other culture carriers in our nation is immense. Many make time for visitors, spending time together and letting guests watch them work, or hosting them in other ways, such as Chifi Dansu, James Hart, Kifyata, Christian White, Anaja, April White, who also runs a guest house. All do very great things for our Haida art, culture, and people. Their art and dedication to community and culture is also a major draw for visitors, of which they host many each year. About 30,000 people visit Haida Gwaii annually, mainly traveling for business, education, and to experience Haida Gwaii, her people, art, and culture. Our nation has also started a tourism business that provides accommodation and cultural experiences, and a tourism committee that aims to manage visitation in a good way. It's an important part of our economy, but we must also take care not to lose ourselves in it. So we already struggle with the number of fish being caught from sport fishing or other things like that. We're addressing this with Canada. Sharing knowledge can help. Our nation created the Haida Gwaii Pledge, which helps people orientate themselves to Haida Gwaii, our supernatural, our way of life, and how to be good guests on Haida Gwaii. I need one more minute. Okay. Tourism, if well managed, can be good for the economy and provide support for increased cultural activity, but our main priority is ensuring Haida Gwaii and Haida heritage is respected and protected. In this, we uphold our responsibility to our home and the supernaturals who taught us how to live on Haida Gwaii. We continue to protect our land and strengthen our culture for the many generations of Haida to come. That people, this is my daughter Koyas on the right when she was little, and my son on the left with me when he was little. That people want to learn about all of what I've spoken about and more is a bonus. It helps our economy, supports arts and culture, and can help facilitate reconciliation as relationships are developed and fostered. I hope my presentation has been helpful. I've never spoken this fast in my life. Again, thank you very much.